Welcome to a new episode of Stray Thoughts. In this one, we're going to be reviewing G.I. Joe Redemption? Or
Retaliation.
Retaliation.
I think we should probably start with talking about how we felt about the first movie.
Okay. Yeah, that makes sense.
You go first.
Okay, the first movie, I don't know, when it came out I was really excited for it because, I watched G.I. Joe as a kid. Coming out, it was a good action movie. It wasn't really a good movie, though.
Yeah. I kind of hated the first movie. Like you said, it's a decent action movie, but it was a terrible G.I. Joe movie.
Yeah.
It had nothing to do with G.I. Joe.
I threw character names in there just for pops, and that was
about
it.
That was basically it. That's pretty much it. Like, that sums up my feelings for the first movie. It was a decent action movie, bad G.I. Joe movie.
What'd you think of the new one?
I thought it was significantly better as a Joe movie. I felt we got the feeling of the characters a little bit better. I thought The Rock was actually pretty decent as Roadblock. At the same time, I still think it's a bad G.I. Joe movie. Better than the first one, still a bad Joe movie.
Okay.
I don't know why they went with characters like Lady J instead of going with Scarlet. Why Flint was sort of the number 2 man. Duke is killed off early on in the movie. It's like 5 minutes in.
It's true. And there was a lot of talk about it happening beforehand.
Yeah.
So
what did you think of it?
It was a movie. I honestly... I don't know, it wasn't so terrible that I was, hating it, I guess. But the thing is, I didn't feel anything for this movie, to be honest. Throughout the whole thing, I was just kind of, waiting for it to end, I guess.
Yeah. I think a large part of it was because I've always kind of liked G.I. Joe and I already know the characters. So that might help a little bit.
Yeah.
Because there was no characterization at all, except for a little bit for Roadblock.
Yeah, tiny
and that
bit.
was it.
Yeah, honestly, you don't feel any sort of connection to these characters whatsoever.
Yeah.
I felt the villains, it was more about them in this movie than it was about the Joes.
Yeah, I actually liked Cobra Commander.
Even though you didn't see him a lot, but...
Yeah, I would have liked to see a little bit more, Cobra! I would have liked to see a lot more from the cartoon and the comics, actually, because there was not a single Yo Joe.
Yeah.
I
did the Marine Oorah instead.
Yeah, they kept doing the Oorah, but not one time. Early on in the movie, they could have just thrown in Joe's call out. Yo, Joe!
Yeah.
There wasn't a single Hail Cobra.
The action was really spread out. There were a few, big scenes, but, it wasn't an action movie, per se. And, it wasn't a good enough movie for it to do that, where it was we're going to make a Joe movie, we're going to take it serious, it's going to be more about, planning it out and everything like that, and it was just kind of, really slow. Even the action scenes, the fight scenes and stuff, it was such, hard cuts and fast camera movement.
A lot of shaky cam.
It just... I didn't even know what was going on half the time.
Yeah, the only fight scenes I really liked was anything involving Snake Eyes and Storm Shadow.
Yeah.
I thought their fight scenes were shot a lot better because they were shot more like martial arts fights instead of gunfights.
Yeah, that being said, it felt like they were making 2 movies in this. There was that half the movie was this whole on the mountain ninja versus ninja let's have a kung fu movie type thing, and then it was and here in America we've got the Joes. Yeah.
And we never get to see Snake Eyes or Storm Shadow fight soldiers, and we never get to see the Joes, the soldier Joes, fight ninjas.
Exactly, yeah.
So it did feel very disjointed. Yeah. Also, this movie had a thing with chick fights.
It was that in the first one.
Lady J couldn't fight any male characters. Jinx couldn't fight any male characters. And this really hurt the movie because there was no Baroness this time around.
Exactly, yeah.
So they had nobody.
But honestly, they did the same thing in the first one because it was like always Baroness versus that one female Joe. I can't remember who it was.
Was it Scarlet in the first movie?
Actually, I think
That would explain why she wasn't in this one.
But yeah, it was always them fighting each other and like never anything else.
Yeah.
It seems weird.
Flint was there, and his entire gimmick was supposed to be free running. You get to see it once at the beginning of the movie.
I was kind of wondering what he was doing most of the time. Like, he had some flying knees and stuff like that, so I thought like maybe they were going for some Muay Thai thing. When you say free running, though, it kind of like...
Yeah, in the very beginning of the movie, when it introduces the characters, it gave you name, rank, and like their specialty, and it said free running for him.
Oh, okay.
You see him do it once at the very beginning of the movie in that mission in the missile.
Where he's going after the guy with the missile,
and at no other point in the movie, all they had to do was give him a task where he had to go and like grab something and leave.
Yeah.
And then they could have had him do a free running scene and, you know, fire off a couple of shots at some guards. And it would have been really cool, but they didn't do it.
Oh, spoilers.
Spoilers. When Cobra Commander and Zetar?
Yeah, whatever.
It's how forgettable this guy is.
Zetar.
The Master of Disguise guy. It's really bad because he's actually like a big G.I. Joe character. Anyway, when he's doing his whole show of force to show off his super weapon, the Joes are there already, and they're prepared to stop his plan.
Yeah.
Right? Like, everyone's already there in place.
Yeah.
And then they stand by and let him blow up London. And they wait till after London is destroyed before they step in and go, "You have to stop."
See, I didn't look at it that way so much as like they were moving into position and they were just a little bit late or something, but I guess you might be right. Like,
Storm Shadow was right there, 5 feet away.
It's true. My thing is, like, the ending of this movie had a very, like, cliche, like, countdown to world ending, and we have to stop it before the count. Even up to the point where it was doing the 10-second countdown, and Roadblock stops it at 2 seconds or whatever. And then to top all that off, I didn't even feel like I was on the edge of my seat. Are they going to stop them in time? It was just kind of like, okay, countdown. Yeah. And then he hits the button, and the satellites blow up.
Yeah.
I couldn't help but just be like,
okay.
What?
Not only that, like, okay, first of all, why do the satellites blow up?
Worst planning
Second
ever.
of all, the entire point of the satellites, okay, what do they do? What does the super weapon do? It's got a tungsten rod in it.
Yeah.
And what it does is when they hit the activate button, it just drops the rod.
From space.
And the rod flies into Earth like a meteor. And that's how they destroy London.
So they get all the destruction and none of the radiation or anything like that of a nuclear bomb.
So when these satellites explode,
it's still gonna just...
They are established to be close enough to Earth that the rod just falls and gravity does all the work for it. So...
It wouldn't have broken up.
Nobody was saved. The Joes destroyed the Earth. But no, after the climax, there is literally one scene. And then the credits.
It's true.
It's like all the satellites explode, and then everyone's like, "We did it, we're heroes." And then there's a scene where everybody's getting medals.
Because they're in the military.
Credits.
Yeah, and like G.I. Joe 1, it had a similar thing where it was like climax, okay, they're in prison, and then, but we had like a few credits, and then we had Zetar, I'm gonna go with that, coming out and doing his whistle thing as the president, so you were like, oh my god, he's the president! They didn't have anything. It was just, okay, we're done. We're not making another G.I. Joe movie because we fucked it up twice.
Okay, how do you make it better? A Joe movie should work more like the Avengers movie.
Oh, yeah.
First of all, give us more Joes, because 3 isn't enough.
Yeah.
4 if you include Joe, but he's in it for half the movie. Doesn't really accomplish
5
anything.
if you include Snake Eyes.
Okay, and Snake Eyes, yeah. But even that's 5 Joes out of a team of, like, 20. How many Joes are there? There's fucking hundreds of them. Yeah. If you include all the, like, auxiliary members.
There's, like, the 20 core, like...
Yeah. There should have been a more ensemble cast, and it should have focused more on characterizing them and their relationship as a team.
So basically get Joss Whedon to write the next G.I. Joe movie and we'll be alright.
That's exactly what they need to do, honestly.
Yeah. I'd like to see more Cobra versus Joe go out. Like, you had, like, the Cobra soldiers, but they were just, like, faceless soldiers.
Yeah, they kept fighting faceless mooks.
Yeah.
And we didn't get to see...
Any Cobra... Like, I don't know any of the Cobra's names, because it was years ago that I watched the cartoon.
Also, Firefly was the only one
really
in this movie.
big one.
Destro didn't even appear. They left him in the prison.
You're no longer in the band. Fuck you.
Yeah. How do you just leave Destro behind? He's Destro.
But yeah, I think there should be more of like that, where it's just like, you know, an epic, like, you end up getting like 6 Joes and 6 Cobra faces that each take on one at a time, like one each, and they're just happening all over the place kind of thing. Yeah. Oh, 3D. Not worth it.
The 3D did nothing.
That's it.
Nothing.
I'm tired of saying that, but it's...
Okay. Should people see it?
No. Like, maybe when it comes out on DVD or something, or download it, maybe. Like, honestly, it's not worth paying $20 to go to the theater. Because they force you to watch it at AVX 3D, and it's like...
It wasn't worth the 2 hours, honestly. It wasn't even bad enough to be funny.
Like, I was just bored most of the time, to be honest.
Yeah. Yeah, don't go see it. Maybe if they do another one, there is clearly been an upward curve.
Yeah, they're trying. But, yeah.
I think, honestly, at this point, they'd have to reboot it, though. They've ruined it to a point. Because they've killed everyone.
It's true.
Even
Duke is dead. Like.
Duke is dead. In a Joe movie. Okay, that's it. We're done.
We're done.
Don't go see it.
Yeah, don't bother.
Hey guys, this is Dylan once again presenting your end screen. Ooh. I just want to ask you guys if you like what you see, you want to see more videos, hit the like and subscribe buttons down there. Try to spread the word a little bit, and we can keep making more of these. And of course, feel free to provide some feedback down in the comments. We're always happy to hear your feedback, and we always take it into consideration. So I hope you guys like this one. We should have another one up pretty soon.
Except every time The Rock fights somebody, you want to see him like do a rock bottom.
Yeah, totally, yeah. And I think he even almost suplexes him at one point, and I was kind of like, oh, is he going to do some wrestling moves?